Hey everybody, this is Allison from Alley Cat Creations. How are you? I have my plethora of oracle cards. I have tarot, my runic tarot. I have all my fun stuff. I was going to do a pick a gem reading. But then a nice wicked storm started flowing in, started raining really bad. And then the pain amped up in my body. So I saged, I lit some candles, I did a few 22 meditations, I cleansed myself, and my goodness, it's almost 60 degrees here in New York. It's going to go back down to 30 something tomorrow. My body can't handle that. So I figured I would come on and do a reading. It's not last minute, but I figured I could do a reading because I could shift my body better. But I have a sleeping Ethan on my lap right now, so I'll work around him. He's keeping me warm. See, here's his tail. I guess I need a lot of protecting because he comes and hangs out with me, but he's been with me for almost all day. Yeah, so I hope that those of you who are into the portal energies and the ascension stuff, before I read this, I'll show you what it is in a minute. Just really quickly, when people in the spiritual community talk about portals and the energies and the astrological signs and everything, a lot of people don't believe in a lot of that, and that's fine. I believe in it because I'm very much my signs, and it's really bananas. And I've researched a lot of it. I didn't believe a lot of it, but then I did. So today's a very important day to meditate, to ground, to what do you want to do? And a lot of my videos have started ramping up this. What do you want to do for your future? How do you want to make your living? I know it doesn't seem like anything is happening right now in society. Everybody, for the most part, are going on about their lives like nothing takes place. I still got to do this, and all is well. Well, things are shifting. I don't know when things are actually going to go down. It seems like every day someone's like, oh, any day now, any day now, any day now, any day now. But I mean, there are signs things are moving forward within the world. So I can't know when to make my move. I want to get out of New York really bad. I am still trying to figure out my bills. I got another odd job. I'm helping a neighbor out, again, watch a dog that thankfully I got paid for, so I can hopefully not skip on my bills this month. And it's like just to keep me going. It's to keep the lights on. It's to keep the gas going so I can cook some food. It's to just live with nothing, just the basics. So I'm still trying to figure out that. It's the end of the month. It's getting creepily scarily. I have not received my money that I'm owed, for both unemployment and from my severance pay. So it's getting scary. Yeah. And I'm just at one of those, what do I want to manifest? And for me, it's not about greed. It literally is to be abundant in what I am lacking. And what I'm lacking is the being able just to pay for basic things. I have not yet been able to pay my property tax, which is illegal, by the way. But I don't know what's going to happen next quarter. Don't know. That's April. That's coming up soon. So this portal, what you can do for yourselves is on a piece of paper, write down your intentions, write down what you want to manifest, what you want to bring into existence, whether it be a relationship. You know, just don't say I want a relationship, because anybody's going to come walking and knocking on your door. It could be, what qualities do you want in a person? What is it that you want to achieve? Do you need a new career? For me, I would love to keep continuing doing readings and get my oracle readings off the ground. I know a lot of people are happy, and for the most part, almost everybody I've read tell me that whatever I pulled for them was pretty accurate. So I'm not off. I'm not scamming anybody, you know. So I want to be doing what my sole purpose is, and that's to help awaken people. And this is the means in which I feel is best, because I'm reaching a lot of people. Even though I don't have as many subscribers, doesn't matter. It's the quality of what I'm doing that's reaching people. So I'm still doing some research on the infiltrators of Earth, which would be the Greys, and I want to focus just on them, not so much the Draconians, because I mean they play, but I mean they're both hand in hand. But I want to get the information from each group and then like do separate series, well, the same series, but like individualize them. But until I can do that, and I'm still acquiring a lot of information and going in through reading different books and different things, just in case I do lose the internet, I want to read what I have here. I only went into this book once, and that was to read the Luciferian Rebellion. And again, my reading of words, big words, don't work. Here he is, Mr. I'm going to take up a lot of real estate. I also, he has this big knock on his head. It's huge. And I feel really bad because I cannot afford the vet bill. I don't even know how much that's going to cost. I don't even know if it's cancerous. I've been praying on that I hit some sort of lotto or the career jackpot. A lot of people are telling me to do GoFundMe and the other one. And I mean, I could do a GoFundMe for just losing my job living in New York. And but I like to work for my income, if that makes sense. I feel funny, and like a lot of people offer to do things for me. I feel really weird about that. Like if I'm doing readings and people donate to me, like at least you're getting information, you're learning. It's like school, it's an energy reciprocating concept. When, you know, obviously my Ethan doesn't do anything but protect me, but it bothers me. And this poor guy, he has really bad vision too. He has no night vision. So his cat vision isn't on at night. He could see with lights on, but it's very hard for him to see during the night. This poor thing. And that was ever since he was a little kitty. But nonetheless, he's my special guy. And hopefully I can figure out how to heal that holistically. So if there's anybody out there that knows holistic animal medicine, that knows how to take, it's not stuck on, it moves. So I don't think it's cancer. I don't think it's anything bad. I think it's probably dermatological more than anything else. But if anybody has anything that you've treated your animal with that works, let me know. Whether it be topical. I obviously cannot afford much, but I can put it out there to the universe. If there's a medicine out there or something cheap I can do, I will make it happen. Okay, now I'm gonna have to move him because I'm getting hot. Okay. Sorry, I'm ranting. I have yet to figure it out if I want to do it also before I start a live stream. Please leave in the comments below. If you would like to partake and just, you know, watch me go live. I'm thinking about doing that, whether it just be a smaller reading so it doesn't take all the time and then I can talk and interact with people. I will do that. I just know that there's not, the times that I usually do my videos are late at night. And then it takes a long time to upload. And then by the time most of the people, especially in America, that see my stuff is the day after. But I can definitely fit my schedule to do it. So write down in the comments if that's something that you would like to do. Make sure if you're seeing my videos to hit like if you haven't done so. This helps spread the word. Subscribe and share it if you can. So with Urantia, it's another type of like book, like a waspe, that gives a perception. It's a channeled work. This is a channeled work. It's huge and it reads small, but it's, these are like paper thin pages. Like they're super thin. And it goes into a lot. And just like a waspe, it goes into the Central and Superuniverse, the local universe. It goes into Jesus. A lot of it does. A lot of this touches on Melchizedek, archangels, the seraphim. This has a lot of religious stuff. I don't necessarily, I might go into it. I want to make sure though that I have a bounce back from Owaspe to this. And the Keys of Enoch. Again, like one of these is God relation to the individual and the consciousness of God. That might be the most profound thing ever. God's everywhereness, infinite power, universal knowledge, God's limitlessness. Like these are really awesome concepts that most people don't think of when you're reading scripture. And this goes into a lot of that stuff, like quantum mechanics and quantum physics, without the math. I can't do math. I know people that can, and they're migrating towards me. I mean, this book is humongous, and it goes into a lot. And really just like Owaspe, I jumped around. I read Thor, Osiris, and Apollo, and their times on the planet and what they did during their time. And then I read the beginning, the last episode, which I'm going to probably do with this book too. I jump around. There's no reason for it. I feel that whenever upstairs wants me to do something and compels me to do it, I do it. I get a lot of questions about that, so that's why I'm addressing it. A lot of people like, just why are you jumping around? Because everything has its divine timing, and my divine timing to read things might not be your divine timing to hear it, but eventually it's information that you can hear. I'm going to read a little bit of universe reality, and then I'm going to go into part 1, the Central and Superuniverses, the Universal Father. Again, this is a channeled work. This is not the end-all be-all of anything. Take what resonates with you, if it resonates with you. If it doesn't, it's just a perspective, just something else to think about. Not everything that I personally read do I believe. There are things that I do not resonate with and things that I do. I think it's healthy to hear another perspective and to get another perspective, especially from channeled work. A lot of people don't like and believe in channels. They think it's from the devil. That's fine. It's still another perspective. As I say, I'll take all my protective stuff out. You know, sometimes I feel we will know the answers and the truth when we ascend, and when our physical vehicles pass and our light and energy bodies go, we'll know the truth of it all, and we'll comprehend it in a quantum snap. But until then, we're stuck in these 3D constructs of a body and have limited comprehension to the all. So I'm not here to change your paradigm. I'm not here to dismantle it. If you resonate with it and this is something that changes your perspective, great. If not, that's okay too. A lot of people are very stuck in the religious workings of the Bible and the Torah and the Quran. And they will not allow their ears to hear another perspective. And there are a lot of people who are now looking out and branching out to try to know what the difference in books are and different perspectives. And that's very brave. And that's amazing. And keep up the good work. Everybody is going to do everything on their own divine timing. I'm just providing a perspective and an angle that you might have not had. And that's the purpose of me reading these books. So for anybody out there, I'm not here to upset you. I'm just reading a different perspective. I get a lot of those questions, and I want to make sure I answer them and be respectful about it. I'm not here to disrespect anybody. Not trying to. And again, if I butcher words, I'm not pulling down my teeth because I look like a crackhead. Yeah. So universe reality. Reality differentially actualizes on diverse universe levels. Reality originates in and by the infinite volition of the Universal Father and is realizable in three primal phases on many different levels of the universe actualization. I know the law of one, the other episode I did yesterday, a lot of people are like, I know it's not metaphysics. If you read Arthur Schopenhauer, some of his books are very, very, very difficult to read. Just by all the words and trying to understand what the hell he's trying to convey. So it's okay. Undeified reality ranges from the energy domains of the non-personal to the reality realms of the non-personable. Values of universal existence, even to the presence of the unqualified absolute. Deified reality embraces all infinite deity potentials, ranging upward through all realms of personality, from the lowest finite to the highest infinite, thus encompassing the domain of all that which is personable and more even to the presence of the deity absolute. Interassociated reality. Universe reality is supposedly either deified or undeified, but to subdeified beings, there exists a vast domain of interassociated reality potential and actualizing, which is difficult of identification. Much of the coordinate reality is embraced within the realms of the universal absolute. This is the primal concept of original reality. The Father initiates and maintains reality. The primal differentials of reality are the deified and undeified, the deity absolute and the unqualified absolute. The primal relationship is tension between them. The Father initiated divinity tension is perfectly resolved by and eternalizes as the universal absolute. From the viewpoint of time and space, reality is further divisible as actual and potential. Realities existing in fullness of expression is contrast to those which carry undisclosed capacity for growth. The eternal sun is an absolute spiritual actuality. Mortal man is very largely an unrealized spiritual potentiality. Absolute and sub-absolute. Absolute realities are eternally existence. Sub-absolute realities are projected on two levels. Epsonites realities, which are relative with respect to both time and eternity. Finites realities, which are projected in space and are actualized in time. Are we still with me? Are we with me? It's a lot. Existential and experimental. Paradise deity is existential, but the emerging supreme and ultimate are experimental. Personal and impersonal. Deity expansion, personality expression, and universe evolution are forever conditioned by the Father's free will act, which forever separated the mind, spirit, personal meanings, and values of actuality and potentiality, centering in the eternal sun, from those things which center and inhere in the eternal Isle of Paradise. Keys of Enoch talks about the paradise suns. Paradise is a term inclusive of the personal and the non-personal focal absolutes of all phases of universe reality. Paradise, properly qualified, may connote any and all forms of reality. Deity, divinity, personality, and energy, spiritual, mindal, or material. All share paradise as the place of origin, function, and destiny as regards values, meanings, and factual existence. The Isle of Paradise, paradise not otherwise qualified, is the absolute of the material gravity control of the first source and center. Paradise is motionless, being the only stationary thing in the universe of universes. The Isle of Paradise, source of the physical universes, past, present, and future. The nuclear Isle of Light is a deity derivative, but it is hardly deity. Neither are the material creations a part of deity. They are all consequence. The Isle of Paradise might be the void of space and time. Just my opinion. Paradise is not a creator. It is a unique controller of many universe activities, far more of the controller than a reactor. Throughout the material universes, paradise influences the reactions and conduct of all beings having to do with force, energy, and power. But paradise itself is unique, exclusive, and isolated in the universes. Paradise represents nothing, and nothing represents paradise. I mean, I personally do say we are all nothing and everything at the same time. And I say that a lot. It is neither a force nor a presence. It is just paradise. Personality realities. Personality is a level of deified reality and ranges from the mortal and midwayer level of the higher mind activation of worship and wisdom up through the morontial and spiritual to the attainment of finality of personality status. That is the evolutionary ascent of mortal and kindred creature personality, but there are numerous other orders of universe personalities. Reality is subject to universal expansion, personality to infinite diversification, and both are capable of well-nigh unlimited deity, coordination, and in eternal stabilization. While the metamorphic range of non-personal reality is definitely limited, we know of no limitations to the progress evolution of personality realities. On obtained experimental levels, all personality orders or values are associable and even co-creational. Even God and man can coexist in a unified personality, as it is so exquisitely demonstrated in the present status of Christ Michael, Son of Man and Son of God. Archangel. And remember, in the Keys of Enoch, Christ is an office that's held by deities or personalities or beings. It's an office. Like Jesus of the Christ is Jesus holding the office of the Christ in the time where he was here. Archangel Michael held the Christ office, as in terms of Keys of Enoch. And now we're seeing that here in Urantia. All sub-infinite orders and phases of personality are associative attainables and are potentially co-creational. The pre-personal, the personal, and the subpersonal are all linked together by mutual potential of co-coordinate attainment, progressive achievement, and co-creational capacity, but never does the impersonal directly transmute to the personal. Personality is never spontaneous. It is the gift of the Paradise Father. Personality is superimposed upon energy, and it is associated only with living energy systems. Identity can be associated with non-living energy patterns. The Universal Father is the secret of the reality of personality, the bestowal of personality, and the destiny of the personality. The Eternal Son is the absolute personality. The secret of the spiritual energy, Urantia spirits, and perfected spirits. The conjoint actor is the spirit mind personality, the source of intelligence, reason, and the universal mind. But the Isle of the Paradise is non-personal and extra spiritual, being the essence of the spirit of the universe body, the source and creator of physical matter, and the absolute master pattern of universal material reality. These qualities of universal reality are manifest in Urantia human experience on the following levels. Body, the material or physical organism of man. The living electrochemical mechanism of animal nature and origin. Mind, the thinking, perceiving, and feeling mechanism of the human organism, the total conscious and unconscious experience, the intelligence associated with the emotional life, reaching upward through worship and wisdom to the spiritual level. Spirit, the divine spirit that indwells the mind of man, the thought adjuster. This immortal spirit is pre-personal, not a personality, though destined to become a part of the personality of the surviving mortal creature. Soul. The soul of a man is an experimental acquirement. As a mortal creator chooses to do the will of the Father in heaven, so the indwelling spirit becomes the father of a new reality in human experience. Say what? I'm going to read that again. As a mortal creator chooses to do the will of the Father in heaven, so the indwelling spirit becomes the father of a new reality in human experience. We are all fractals of Creator. And I believe that. The mortal and material mind is the mother of this same emerging reality. The substance of this new reality is neither material nor spiritual. It's morantial. This is the emerging of immortal soul, which is destined to survive mortal death and being the paradise ascension. Personality. The personality of mortal man is neither body, mind, nor spirit. Neither is it the soul. Personality is the one changeless reality in an otherwise ever-changing creature experience, and it unifies all other associated factors of individuality. The personality is the unique bestowal which the Universe Father makes upon the living and associated energies of matter, mind, and spirit, and which survives with the survival of the morantial soul. Morantia is a term designated a vast level intervening between the material and the spiritual. It may designate personal or impersonal realities, living or non-living energies. The warp of Morantia is spiritual. Its woof is physical. So, what I get out of this, like I've been saying for myself and how I explain a lot, is most of my videos, I've said it, we are on Creator's stage. Paradise. Here. We're all fractals of God, playing out roles God and our soul agreed to play on its divine stage. So we're just acting out roles God wants us to play so that God can gain back that information, wisdom, and acknowledgement of life, of their dimensional experiences. Thus, we are creators in our own right. We are gods in our own right, playing out roles for the Creator. Did I lose you yet? I hope not. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you think about it, you as a human being, whether male or female, both combined create a being inside a woman. But you need two to tango. And the seed is a creation. So you're creating by doing that act, by seeding another human inside a woman. Then a soul comes and ascends, and thus keeps the cycle moving forward. So you are a creator. I create art. Someone else creates music. People create all the time. You're manifesting things all the time. I mean, it doesn't just happen like this. I mean, sure, I would love to manifest my bills to get paid like this. Does it happen? No. But it would be really great if we can all just do that, right? Like replicate money. That'd be amazing. I mean, not having to have any of that would be amazing as well. Energy and pattern. Any and all things responding to the personality circuit of the Father, we call personal. Any and all things responding to the spiritual circuit of the Son, we call spirit. Any and all that responds to the mind circuit of the conjoint actor, we call mind. Mind as an attribute of the infinite spirit. Mind in all its phases. Any and all that responds to the material gravity circuit centering in either paradise, we call matter. Energy, matter, in all its metamorphic states. Energy. We use an all-inclusive term applied to spirit, mindal, and material realms. Force is also thus broadly used. Power is ordinarily limited to the designation of the electronic level of material or linear gravity response. Matter in the grand universe. Power is also employed to designate sovereignty. We cannot follow your generally accepted definitions of force, energy, and power. There is such paucity of language that we must assign multiple meanings to these terms. So, like Ra, their language is different. Their expressions, their everything is different. So when they're channeling through a person, they're limited in the scope of language and how to convey what they want to share. So I feel like that's what they're trying to explain right there. Physical energy is a term denoting all phases and forms of phenomenal motion, action, and potential. In discussing physical energy manifestations, we generally use the term cosmic force, emergent energy, and universe power. These are often employed as follows. Cosmic force embraces all energies deriving from the unqualified absolute, but which are as yet unresponsive to paradise gravity. And I don't really believe in gravity, by the way. I believe in density. Emergent energy embraces those energies which are responsive to paradise gravity, but are as yet unresponsive to local or linear gravity. This is the pre-electronic level of energy matter. Universe power includes all forms of energy, which, while still responding to paradise gravity, are directly responsive to linear gravity. This is the electronic level of energy matter and all subsequent evolutions thereof. Mind is a phenomenon connoting the presence activity of living ministry in addition to varied energy systems. And this is true on all levels of intelligence. In personality, mind ever intervenes between spirit and matter. Therefore, it is the universe illuminated by three kinds of light: material light, intellectual insight, and spirit luminosity. I just want to know, because there's different printings of this book. This was published in 1955. But I am curious. It's how many pages? It's over 2,000 pages, guys. I'll find out. Okay. Although this was copywritten in 1955, it goes back to 1923. I mean, Owaspe is back in the 1850s. So this isn't that far behind us in time. But how it's written is making sense. Light. Spirit luminosity is a word symbol, a figure of speech, which connotes the personality manifestation characteristic of spirit beings of diverse orders. This luminous emanation, sorry guys, is in no respect related either to intellectual insight or to physical light manifestations. Pattern can be projected as material, spiritual, or mindal, or any combination of these energies. It can pervade personalities, identities, entities, or non-living matter, but pattern is pattern and remains pattern. Only copies are multiplied. Pattern may configure energy, but it does not control it. Gravity is the sole control of energy matter. Neither space nor pattern or our gravity response, but there is no relationship between space and pattern. Space is neither pattern nor potential pattern. Pattern is a configuration of reality which has already paid all gravity debt. The reality of any pattern consists of its energies, its mind, spirit, or material components. In contrast to the aspect of the total, pattern discloses the individual aspect of energy and of personality. Personality or identity forms are patterns resultant from energy, physical, spiritual, and vital, but are not inherent therein. That quality of energy or of personality by virtue of which pattern is caused to appear may be attributed to God, deity, to the paradise force endowment, to the coexistence of personality and power. Pattern is a master design from which copies are made. Eternal paradise is the absolute of patterns. The eternal sun is the pattern personality. The universal father is the direct ancestor source of both. Both paradise does not bestow pattern, and the sun cannot bestow personality. That's a mouthful. And the last thing I will read, and this is just the forward, by the way, the Supreme Being. The deity mechanism of the Master Universe is twofold as concerns eternity relationships. God the Father, God the Son, and God the Spirit are eternal, are existential beings, while God the Supreme, God the Ultimate, and God the Absolute are actualizing deity personalities of the post-Nirvana epochs in the time-space and the time-space transcended spheres of Master Universe evolutionary expansion. These actualizing deity personalities are future eternals from the time when and as they power personalize in the growing universes by the technique of the experimental actualization of the associative creative potentials of the eternal paradise deities. Deity is therefore dual in presence. Existential beings of eternal existence, past, present, and future. Experimental beings actualizing in the post-Havana present, but of unending existence throughout all future eternity. The Father, Son, and Spirit are existential in actuality, though all potentials are supposedly experimental. The Supreme and the Ultimate are wholly experimental. The deity absolute is experimental in actualization, but existential in potentiality. The essence of deity is eternal, but only the three original persons of a deity are unqualified external. All other deity personalities have an origin, but they are eternal in destiny. Having achieved existential deity expression of himself in the Son and the Spirit, the Father now is achieving experimental expression onto here impersonal and unrevealed deity levels as God the Supreme, God the Ultimate, and God the Absolute. But these experimental deities are not now fully existent. They are in process of actualization. God the Supreme in Havana is a personal spirit reflection of the triune paradise deity. This associative deity relationship is now creatively expanding outward in the God the sevenfold and is synthesizing an experimental power of the Almighty Supreme in the grand universe. Paradise deity existential as three persons is thus experimentally evolving into phases of supremacy. While these dual phases are power personality unifying as one Lord, the Supreme Being. The Universal Father achieves free will liberation from the bonds of infinity and the fetters of eternity by the technique of trinitization, threefold deity personalization. The Supreme Being is even now evolving as a sub-eternal personality unification of the sevenfold manifestation of deity in the time-space segments of the grand universe. The Supreme Being is not a direct creator, except that he is the father of Majeston, but he is a synthetic coordinator of all creature, creator, universe activities. The Supreme Being now actualizing in the evolutionary universes is the deity, correlator, and synthesizer of time-space divinity, of triune paradise deity in experimental association with the supreme creators of time and space. When finally actualized, this evolutionary deity will constitute the eternal fusion of the finite and the infinite, the everlasting and indissoluble union of experimental power and spirit personality. All time, space, finite reality, under the directive urge of the evolving Supreme Being, is engaged in an ever-ascending mobilization and perfecting unification, power personality synthesis of all phases and values of finite reality, in association with varied phases of paradise reality, to the end and for the purpose of subsequently embarking upon the attempt to reach absonite levels of super creature obtainment. I'm going to make a note to myself because it goes into subsections, but I want to have time to go into the first part. So I'll put a little sticky up here. Because the next part is the God the sevenfold. And it goes into like the paradise creator sons, the ancients of days, the seven master spirits, the supreme being, God the spirit, God the son, God the father, which is a lot of reading. I mean, it's a lot, but I want to like do that in levels. I hope you're still with me. I know it's a lot. It's not easy reading. It's not hard to, it's not, I would say it is very hard to understand. But it's another perception of the one above. So I'm reading the Central and Superuniverses, the Universal Father. It's quite thick. I might skip around again. I mean, this book is how many pages? Over 2,000. So we're, you know, I'll dig into the this book, but a lot of people right now are how can I say this? A lot of people, especially as of a, you know, as I'm watching things unfold in the world, they're either on the biblical end of what God is or on the energy mathematical side of taking the religious aspect out of God and knowing that there is a supreme creator and its energy and all that fun stuff. and the quantum and the physics and the math and the science behind the energy and the explosion and the thought and then and all the sacred geometry. And I'm on more on that end. But there is a spiritual side to that. There's duality in a lot of things. What I'm seeing a lot of people, and I don't know if it's them unknowing or knowing what they're doing, is it's like they're saying his name or saying just God and using it in vain. Or they act like they are of a higher force, a holy rolling force, when they themselves are creating in acts of not out of love and light. And I think it's like the reason why I feel reading these different books and different perspectives of God, the creator, whatever you want to call the energy, or whatever you want to, whatever resonates with you. I'm reading these because a lot of people are taking so much out of context. And a lot of people are using these as like, I am holier than thou. And no, we are beings created, soul and body, to play a role. No one's above another person, because we are all literally one. We really are. We're all one. We're individualized, but at the end of the day, we're a collective. And everybody has to realize when you're saying amen, oh yeah, you know, and quoting scripture, and at the same breath judging others and putting slanderous things out there, doing things that are ungodly, like, and yes, you are playing a role because you are in the image of God, but is that right? You could be a jerk, just don't put God in front of it. Don't put Yeshua in front of it. Don't say amen at the end of it. Be a real person. I find it very, very interesting from somebody who's not trained in scripture. I read a lot of different things, which I guess gives me a different perspective on it all. But it really does come down to forgiveness and knowing that each one of us has a role to play, whether it be a malicious act or a godly act or anything. We're all here to teach each other and give each other experiences. Each part of your day, you're learning something. You're learning a lesson, you're taking in information, and it's up to you to do with what that information is. Are you going to let it enhance your life? Are you going to let it not? Are you going to move into a direction of obtaining more information and seeking your own truth? The day you stop learning is the day your avatar dies. And then you just transform, and then there's more learning to do. Learning never stops. It doesn't stop. but it's up to you as a free-willed soul to choose your path. And all these things that I'm seeing in the world today, a lot of people who say a lot of things and quote a lot of Bible verses are yet being extremely hypocritical in doing so in the content that they're preaching. Ultimate judge. And I'm not talking about going to court, because that also isn't, that's a shim of its own. Unless you're a sovereign being, which I hope one day I have the money to become a sovereign being. But I really urge a lot of people who watch, and I know this is a lot to take in and very hard to understand at some points, but just be a good person. Plain and simple. You don't need to quote and say amen in the next breath. Say something derogatory about another person. It defeats the purpose of doing that. Being righteous, exploiting others, let other people decide and make their own decisions. But there's a lot going on, and I needed to bring that little tidbit out, because I know a lot of people who do it. They'll say something and they'll say amen, and in the next breath, negative. I don't buy it. Universal Father. The Universal Father is the God of all creation, the first source and center of all things and beings. First, think of God as a creator, then as a universal Father, had begun to dawn upon mankind when the prophet said, "You, heaven of heavens, with all their hosts, you preserve and control them. By the sons of God were the universes made." The creator covers himself with light, hang on, I lost my spot. Sorry, guys. Covers himself with light as with a garment, and stretches out the heavens as a curtain. Only the concept of the Universal Father, one God in the place of many gods, enable mortal man to comprehend the Father as divine creator and infinite controller. Like in the Keys of Enoch. What creator God created the earth? You have the ultimate being and the triangle and all the beings and souls ascend, and many universes are created, and eventually some of us might create a universe with stars and planets and have our own myriad of things, but there's always the one. That's what a lot of people get lost with. The myriads of planetary systems were all made to be eventually inhabited by many different types of intelligent creatures, beings who could know God, receive the divine affection, and the love him in return. The universe of universes is the work of God and the dwelling place of his universe creatures. God created the heavens and formed the earth. He established the universe and created this world, not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. The enlightened worlds all recognize and worship the universal Father, the eternal maker and infinite upholder of all creation. The will creatures of universe upon universe have embarked upon the long paradise journey, the fascinating struggle of the eternal adventure of obtaining God the Father. The transcendent goal of the children of time is to find the eternal God, to comprehend the divine nature, to recognize the universal Father. God-knowing creatures have only one supreme ambition, just one consuming desire, and that is to become as they are in their spheres, like him as he is in the paradise perfection of personality, and in his universal sphere of righteousness supremacy. From the universal Father who inhabits eternity, there has gone forth the supreme mandate: be you perfect, even as I am perfect. In love and mercy, the messengers of paradise have carried this divine exhortation down through the ages and out through the universes, even to such lowly animal origin creatures as the human races of Urantia. Someone's thinking about me. My nose is itchy. This magnificent and universal injunction to strive for the attainment of the perfection of divinity is the first duty and should be the highest ambition of all the struggling creature creations of the God of perfection. This possibility of the attainment of divine perfection is the final and certain destiny of all men's eternal spiritual progress. This magnificent and universal injunction to strive for the attainment of the perfection of divinity is the first duty and should be the highest ambition of all the struggling creature creations of God of perfection. The possibility of the attainment of divine perfection is the final and certain destiny of all man's eternal spiritual progress. Urantia mortals can hardly hope to be perfect in the infinite sense, but it is entirely possible for human beings, starting out as they do on this planet, to obtain the supernal and divine goal which the infinite God has set for mortal men. And when they do achieve this destiny, they will, in all there pertains to self-realization and mind attainment, be just as replete in their sphere of divine perfection as God himself is in the sphere of infinity and eternity. Such perfection may not be universal in the mind sense, unlimited in intellectual grasp, or final in spiritual experience, but it is final and complete in all finite aspects of divinity of will, perfection of personality, motivation, and God consciousness. There is the true meaning of the divine command, be you perfect, even as I am perfect, which ever urges mortal men onward and beckons him inward in that long and fascinating struggle for the attainment of higher and higher levels of spiritual values and true universal meanings. The sublime search for the God of the universes is the supreme adventure of the inhabitants of the worlds of time and space. The Father's name. Of all the names by which God the Father is known throughout the universes, those which designate him as the first source and the universe center are most often encountered. The first Father is known by various names in different universes in different sectors of the same universe. That's interesting. The names which the creature assigns to the creator are much dependent on the creature's concept of the creator. The first source and the universe center has never revealed himself by name, only by nature. If we believe that we are the children of this creator, it is only natural that we should eventually call him Father. But this is the name of our own choosing, and it grows out of the recognition of our personal relationship with the first source and center. The Universal Father never imposes any form of arbitrary recognition, formal worship, or slavish service upon the intelligent will creators of the universes. The evolutionary inhabitants of the worlds of time and space must of themselves in their own hearts recognize, love, and voluntarily worship him. The creator refuses to coerce or compel the submission of the spiritual free wills of his material creatures. The affectionate dedication of the human will to the doing of the Father's will is man's choice gift to God. In fact, such a consecration of creature will constitute man's only possible gift of true value to the Paradise Father. In God, man lives, moves, and has his being. There is nothing which man can give to God except this choosing to abide by the Father's will. And such decisions, effect by the intelligent will creatures of the universes, constitute the reality of that true worship which is so satisfying to the love-dominated nature of the Creator Father. Oh. When you have once become truly God conscious, after you really discover the majestic creator and begin to experience the realization of the indwelling presence of the divine controller, then, in accordance with your enlightenment and in accordance with the manner and method by which divine sons reveal God, you will find a name for the Universal Father, which will be adequately expressive of your concept of the first great source and center. And so on, different worlds and in various universes, the Creator becomes known by numerous appellations in spirit of relationship of all meaning. The same, but in words and symbols, each name standing for the degree, the depth of his enthronement in the hearts of his creatures of any given realm. Creatures. Extraterrestrials. Interdimensional beings. Fairies, unicorns, Sasquatch. That's hinting that, for sure. I mean, Ethan Cat probably has no concept of the creator. He just is food motivated. He loves food. He loves cuddles. And he loves to be right? In a clean litty. I like clean litter box, Mom. I just find it very intriguing. Near the center of the universe of universes, the Universal Father is generally known by names. Did I read that? No. Regarded as the first source. Further out in the universes of space, the terms employed to designate the Universal Father more often mean the Universal Center. Still further out in this starry creation, he is known as on the headquarters world of your local universe as the first creative source and divine center. In one nearby constellation, God is called the Father of Universes. In another, the infinite upholder, and to the east, the divine controller. He has also been designated the Father of Lights, the gift of life, and the all-powerful one. On those worlds where a paradise son has lived as a bestowal life, God is generally known by some name indicative of personal relationship, tender affection, and fatherly devotion. On your constellation headquarters, God is referred to as the Universal Father. On different planets in your local system of inhabited worlds, he is variously known as the Father of Fathers, the Paradise Father, the Havana Father, and the Spirit Father. Those who know God through the revelations of the bestowals of the Paradise Sons eventually yield to the sentimental appeal of touching relationship of the creator, of the creature-creator association, and refer to God as our Father. On a planet of sex creatures, in a world where the impulses of parental emotion are inherent in the hearts of its intelligent beings, the term Father becomes a very expressive and appropriate name for the eternal God. He is best known, most universally acknowledged on your planet Urantia by the name God. The name he is given in the little is of little importance. The significant thing is that you should know him and aspire to be like him. Your prophets of old truly called him the everlasting God and referred to him as the one who inhabits eternity. Therefore, I call God Creator. Some people call him Source. It could be a female. To me, it's energy. But to you, it might be something else. But again, as long as you acknowledge the fact that there is a supreme creator, I think that's all that matters. The reality of God. God is primal reality in the spirit world. God is the source of truth in the mind spheres. God overshadows all throughout the material realms. To all created intelligences, God is a personality, and to the universe of universes, he is the first source and center of eternal reality. God is neither man-like nor machine-like. The first Father is universal spirit, eternal truth, infinite reality, and Father personality. The eternal God is indefinitely more than reality idolized or the universe personalized. God is not simply the supreme desire of man, the mortal quest objectified. Neither is God merely a concept, the power potential of righteousness. The Universal Father is not a synonym for nature, neither is he natural law personified. God is a transcendent reality, not merely man's traditional concept of supreme values. God is not psychological focalization of spiritual meanings, neither is he the noblest work of man. God may be any or all of these concepts in the mind of men, but he is more. He is a saving person and a loving father to all who enjoy spiritual peace on earth and who crave to experience personality survival in death. The actuality of the existence of God is demonstrated in human experience by the indwelling of the divine presence. The spiritual monitor sent from paradise to live in the mortal mind of men, and there to assist in evolving the immortal soul of eternal survival. The presence of the divine adjuster in the human mind is disclosed by three experimental phenomena: the intellectual capacity for knowing God as God consciousness, the spiritual urge to find God and God seeking, the personality craving to be like God, the wholehearted desire to the Father's will. The existence of God can never be proven by scientific experiment or by the pure reason of logical deduction. God can be realized only in the realms of human experience. Nevertheless, the true concept of the reality of God is reasonably to logic, plausible to philosophy, essential to religion, and indispensable to any hope of personality survival. Those who know God have experienced the fact of his presence. Such God-knowing mortals hold in their personal experience the only positive proof of the existence of the living God, which one human can offer to another. The experience of God is utterly beyond all possibility of demonstration except for the contact between the God consciousness of the human mind and the God presence of the thought adjuster that indwells the mortal intellect and is bestowed upon man as the free gift of the universal Father. In theory, you may think of God as the creator, and he is the personal creator of paradise and the central universe of perfection. But the universes of time and space are created and organized by the paradise corpse of the creator's sons. The universal Father is not the personal creator of the local universe of Nebadon. The universe in which you live is the creation of his son, Michael. Though the Father does not personally create the evolutionary universes, he does control them in many of their universal relationships and in certain of their manifestations of physical, mental, and spiritual energies. God the Father is the personal creator of the paradise universe, and in association with the eternal Son, the creator of other personal universe creators. Keys of Enoch state that as well. I know it's hard to believe. Archangel Michael holds dominion over Earth, and even though that says Nebadon, not Taru, universe, our galaxy, our Milky Way. He created it. And I believe his brother owns dominion of Earth. If you know who his brother is. As a physical controller in the material universe of universes, the first source and center functions in the patterns of the eternal Isle of Paradise, and through this absolute gravity center, the eternal God exercises cosmic control over the physical level equally in the central universe and throughout the universe of universes. As mind, God functions in the deity of the infinite spirit. As spirit, God is manifest in the person of the eternal Son and in the persons of the divine children of the eternal Son. This interrelation of the first source and center with the coordinate persons and absolute of paradise does not in the least preclude the direct personal action of the Universal Father throughout all creation and on all levels thereof. Through the presence of his fragmentized spirit, the Creator Father maintains immediate contact with his creature children and his created universes. Okay, I'm going to read two more of these and I'm going to end it there. God is a universal spirit. God is spirit. He is a universal spiritual presence. The Universal Father is an infinite spiritual reality. He is the sovereign, eternal, immortal, invisible, and only true God. Even though you are the offspring of God, you ought not to think that the Father is like yourselves in form and physique, because you are said to be created in his image, indwelt by mystery monitors dispatched from the central abode of his eternal presence. Spirit beings are real, notwithstanding they are invisible to human eyes, even though they are not flesh and blood. Said the seer of old, lo, he goes by me, and I see him not. He passes on also, but I perceive him not. We may constantly observe the works of God. We may be highly conscious of the material evidences of his majestic conduct, but rarely may we gaze upon the visible manifestation of his divinity, not even to behold the presence of his delegated spirit of human indwelling. The Universal Father is not invisible because he is hiding himself away from the lower creatures of materialistic handicaps and limited spiritual endowments. The situation rather is, you cannot see my face, for no mortal can see me and live. No material man could behold the spirit God and preserve his mortal existence. The glory and the spiritual brilliance of the divine personality presents is impossible of approach by the lower groups of spirit beings, or by any order of material personalities. The spiritual illuminosity of the Father's personal presence is a light which no mortal man can approach, which no material creature has seen or can see. But it is not necessary to see God with the eyes of the flesh in order to discern him by the faith vision of the spiritualized mind. The spiritual nature of the Universal Father is shared fully with his coexistent self, the eternal Son of Paradise. Both the Father and the Son, in like manner, share the universe in eternal spirit fully and unreservedly with their conjoint personality coordinate, the infinite spirit. God's spirit is in and of himself absolute. In the Son is unqualified, in the spirit universal, and in by all of them infinite. God is a universal spirit. God is the universal person, the supreme personal reality of the finite creation is spirit. The ultimate reality of the personal cosmos is absent spirit. Only the levels of infinity are absolute, and only on such levels is there finality of oneness between matter, mind, and spirit. In the universes, God the Father is in potential, the over-controller of matter, mind, and spirit. Only by means of his far-flung personality circuit does God deal directly with the personalities of his vast creation of creatures, but he is contractible outside of the paradise. Only in the presences of his fragmented entities, the will of God abroad in the universes, This paradise spirit that indwells the mind of the mortals of time and there foster the evolution of the immortal soul of the surviving creature is of nature and divinity of the universal Father. But the minds of such evolutionary creatures originate in the local universes and must gain divine perfection by achieving those experimental transformations of spiritual attainment, which are the inevitable result of creatures choosing to do the will of Father in heaven. And mind you, I did not hear one lick of a word of religion pushed on any of this. Spiritual. Just saying. In the inner experience of man, mind is joined to matter. Such material-linked minds cannot survive mortal death. The technique of survival is embraced in those adjustments of the human will and those transformations in the mortal mind, whereby such a God-conscious intellect gradually becomes spirit-taught and eventually spirit-led. This evolution of the human mind from matter, association to spirit union, results in the transmutation of the potentiality, spirit, phases of the mortal mind into the Urantia realities of the immortal soul. Mortal mind, subservient to matter, is destined to become increasingly material and consequently to suffer eventual personality extinction. Mind yielded to spirit is destined to become increasingly spiritual and ultimately to achieve oneness with the surviving and guiding divine spirit, and in this way to obtain spiritual and eternity of personality existence. I come forth from the eternal, and I have repeatedly returned to the presence of the universal Father. I know of the actuality and personality of the first source and center, the eternal and universal Father. I know that while the great God is absolute, eternal, and infinite, he is also good, divine, and gracious. I know the truth of the great declarations, God is spirit and God is love. And these two attributes are most completely revealed to the universe in the eternal Son. And the last thing I'm going to read is the mystery of God. The infinity of the perfection of God is such that it eternally constitutes him mystery. And the greatest of all the unfathomable mysteries of God is the phenomenon of the divine indwelling of mortal minds. The matter in which the universal Father sojourns with the creatures of time is most profound of all universe mysteries. The divine presence in the mind of man is the mystery of mysteries. The physical bodies of mortals are the temples of God, notwithstanding that the sovereign creator sons came near the creatures of their inhabited worlds and draw all men to themselves, though they stand at the door of consciousness and knock, and delight to come into all who will open the doors of their hearts. Although there does exist this intimate personal communion between the creator sons and their mortal creatures, nevertheless, mortal men have something from God himself, which actually dwells within them. Their bodies are the temples thereof. When you are through down here, when your course has been run in temporary form on earth, when your trial trip in the flesh is finished, when the dust that composes the mortal tabernacle returns to the earth whence it came, then it is revealed the indwelling. Spirit shall return to God who gave it. There sojourns within each mortal being of this planet, a fragment of God, a part and parcel of divinity. Told you so. It is not yet yours by right of possession, but it is designed, intended to be one with you if you survive the mortal experience. We are constantly confronted with this mystery of God. We are non-pulsed by the increasing unfoldment of the endless panorama of the truth of his infinite goodness, endless mercy, matchless wisdom, and superb character. The divine mystery consists in the inherent differences which exist between the infinite and the finite, the temporal and the eternal, the time-space creature and the universal creator, the material, the spiritual, the imperfection of man, and the perfection of paradise deity. The God of universal love unfailingly manifests himself to every one of his creatures up to the fullness of that creature's capacity to spiritually grasp the qualities of divine truth, beauty, and goodness. To every spirit being and to every mortal creature in every sphere on every world of the universe of universes, the universal Father reveals all of his gracious and divine self that can be discerned or comprehended by such spirit beings and by such mortal creatures. God is no respecter of persons, either spiritual or material. The divine presence which any child of the universe enjoys at any given moment is limited only by the capacity of such a creature to receive and discern the spirit actualities of the super material world. As a reality in human spiritual experience, God is not a mystery. But when an attempt is made to make plain the realities of the spirit world to the physical minds of the material order, mystery appears. Mystery so subtle and so profound that only the faith grasp of the God-knowing mortal can achieve the philosophic miracle of the recognition of the infinite by the finite, the discernment of the eternal God by the evolving mortals of material worlds of time and space. That, my friends, is where I'm going to end that for today. It's a lot to take in, but a lot of what it's saying is everything that I've been saying. That doesn't make me right, by the way, but it's only for me validating what I inherently knew inside myself. And the fact that this talks about creatures, not just man, little kitty cats to aliens, and the existences of other universes to galaxies to other infinite possibilities that is outside of our knowledge and range of knowing, because we only know what we physically incapable of seeing with our two eyes. And if people are blind, they can feel and they can imagine, they can use their imagination. But it gives a really good first insight of being a child work, the definition of what them consider God. And how the universe is developed. And the realities, the paradise, just like the Keys of Enoch, the paradise sons, the many mansions, as the Keys of Enoch mentions, it holds something because those books are different, but they're mentioning very similar concepts and things. They're just saying it differently with different words, but it's very much the same. So I find these books very interesting. I know they're not easy to grasp and the language is kind of confusing, and it's just a lot. For some people, it's not. It's quick and easy to understand, and for others, it's a mind-boggling jumble of words that you have to discern and like go back and re-listen, and it's a lot. But it's very interesting. I cracked it open today and it was like, what? I have to go back to it. What looks good to read? I'm just like, oh, it goes into different religions. Huh. Supreme and ultimate time and space. It does has a lot of religious stuff in here. Melchizedek, early Egyptian religion, the restrictive taboos, mind you, I did not read this in completion. Wow, the time that would take, wow. I mean, and I'm a fast reader, but this stuff takes me a long time because as you can hear the language, it is not easy. The violet race. Goes into Adam and Eve. The violet race. So I'm going to go through more of this. And basically, next time I go back into this, we'll read some more goodies. I figured, you know, while I only did the Lucifer Rebellion for the first time, and I was doing that because I was hitting upon the difference between Lucifer and Satan with some books, and going through different perspectives like I normally try to do. I might revisit that eventually, but I wanted to get back into like the essence of what, especially like Urantia and Awaspe, go back to like the beginning of the book and get a better understanding of what it's about. So that's what I'm doing. This is a meaty book. It's very interesting. There's a lot of different concepts in here, but if you're curious, it's a really good read. If you have the time to sift through, I mean, literally it's over 2,000 pages. What's the last page here? And of course the page is stuck. 2,090. I got it. 97. 2,097 pages. And I'm going to read you the last of this because it's good. The God consciousness is equivalent to the integration of the self with the universe and on its highest levels of spiritual reality. Only the spirit content of any value is imperishable. Even that which is true, beautiful, and good may not perish in human experience. If man does not choose to survive, then does the surviving adjuster conserve those realities born of love and nurtured in service. And all these things are part of the universal Father. The Father is living love, and this life of the Father is in his sons, and the spirit of the Father is in his sons, mortal men. When all is said and done, the Father idea is still the highest human concept of God. And with that, if you resonated with this, if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. If you have it within you to help me out, to keep the lights on, to keep food on my table, I have things in the comment box, the drop box. Anything helps. $1, a love donation, sharing is caring. Anything to help would be a blessing until things can get better. But in all honesty, I do thank everybody who has been sharing, liking, and subscribing and putting out the word. I know not all my videos are resonating with people, and that's fine. It's not going to, but I hope all of you had a great 2/2/2/2 portal day. I hope you all have a wonderful week. The weather is a little bananas in the United States, so please be safe. And I'll see you on the next one. Have a great night, guys. Bye.